I'm Theron Ramacharaka. I posted a video, or maybe two by now, I'm not sure, but about sense of humor. This one's, I guess, about that too. This is also about paranormal goings on where I live. Domestic paranormal experiences, events. All right, one happened yesterday. I think I was making a video when it happened. No, I wasn't making a video when it happened. But anyway, here it is. Here, I'll show you what it is. I have a dish rack behind me here. And this part attaches to it like that. It's for flatware, silverware, or what have you. Okay, now you see this spoon in here? This teaspoon? All right. This very one was in here like that. Now, I want you to take a look here, please. This one was in here too. It hasn't been moved until now. It's in there just like that, right? This one was face down. Now look at the bottom of this. See? Now this spoon again was in here like that. Now, do you see any way for this to come out, fall out? No, there isn't one. Right? Now, while I was sitting right here, and this was 3 feet behind my back, I heard this sound. This is the sound I heard. Pay attention. That's the sound I heard. I hope you can hear that. I looked back, and this spoon was on the floor. So you notice I'm laughing. Well, I turned around yesterday, and I saw what that was that caused what caused that sound. This spoon was not in here; it was on the floor. So I picked it up, and I noticed that I had used it to stir something, like I don't know what I had used it for, but and then I had just rinsed. Oh, I was eating cereal, some kind of cold cereal, and then I had just rinsed it off carelessly. You know, I didn't wash it with soap. And I had put it in there, just dropped it in like that. And I noticed that it wasn't quite clean. So I figured that it wanted to be cleaned better. It was just this funny thought that occurred to me. And I laughed. I showed my wife. She had heard it. I showed it to her. She just said, wow, and chuckled. Especially when I said, I guess it wanted clean better. And she thought that was kind of funny. So, now I want it clean better. But anyway, sense of humor. Now, some people would get really frightened at an event, over an event like that. Maybe if I had never experienced anything like that before, it would have frightened me too. But just wanted to point out that some things like that can just be funny. And I found the humor in it. I am not going to try to explain the process by which I found the humor in it or thought it was humorous, but I did. And let me give you another example. This was a couple of years ago. My wife and I were in the bedroom, and we were having an argument, and I was out of control over something that she'd done that I thought was really out of control on her part. So, hey, let me address something right here. All right, I call myself Theron Ramacharaka here, the name being derived from two pen names of William Walker Atkinson's Theron Q. Dumont and Yogi Ramacharaka. Theron Q. Ramacharaka. Rolls off the tongue nicely, sounds pretty cool. All right, and a lot of the material here, directly or indirectly, or is, relates to or is work of William Walker Atkinson. So it's an appropriate name for the channel, I think. But anyway, you may wonder, do I practice everything I preach? Am I some kind of an advanced dude? And in my opinion, no, I'm not. No. I try to approximate the things I talk about here. I approximate them. I don't try. I do approximate them. To what extent? It varies. I am very, very familiar with this material. I think extremely familiar with this material. I've been at this for a long time. And moving on. No, I'm not. I've not perfected any of it. No, and I fall short in a lot of it, I think. I tend to get out of control, in my opinion, sometimes. But I'm always progressing, even if it looks like I'm going backwards with it sometimes. It's part of the process. Okay. Overall, there's a trend of progress, constructive progress with me over this stuff, with this stuff. So, yeah, okay, here's an example of me getting emotionally out of control and behaviorally out of control, I think. All right, so we were having this argument over something she'd done that just was very inappropriate and definitely destructive to interpersonal romantic relationship. So I asked her I demanded that she give me her ring back, a diamond ring, and she did, and she was kind of like really sad looking, and I grabbed it and I threw it. Well, we were both still in bed, but about to get out of it. Obviously, we had already slept, and it was over. That sleep was over. I threw the ring into the corner of the room where there's a closet door open. I didn't see exactly where it went, but it was over there somewhere. I heard it bouncing around, I think in the closet. Okay. Finding it was going to be a bit difficult. She got out of bed. I watched her walk out of the room. She didn't look for the ring. I got out of bed, and I left the blankets pulled back. I just tossed them aside off my body, right? Like that. I got up, didn't do anything else. I was stark naked, and I traipsed out here. I was going to pursue the subject with her even further, whatever the subject was, verbally, pursue it. I guess I did for a minute or two, and then I walked back to the bedroom, put on some clothes, and there, right where my butt had been in bed, well, it was the bottom sheet exposed because the blankets were still tossed back, and right there was the ring. I hadn't touched it. I hadn't looked for it. And like I said, neither had she. And it certainly couldn't have been there. It couldn't have landed there. I was in bed. The blankets were over me. It didn't bounce over there. It made its way there somehow from wherever it had landed. It made it to the spot now where I now saw it while I was out talking to her. She was in the living room, and I had walked out to the kitchen. During that brief interval, the ring got from where it was when it landed, where I'd thrown it to, onto the bed where I was clearly going to see it. So that changed my mood at the time. And I started to laugh. I was a little astonished, but not taken aback, not bewildered, nothing of the sort. No, I just, whoa, check that out. I called to my wife. I told her what happened. And she said, same as yesterday, wow. Wow, or something like that. And I said, I guess it wants back on your finger. So I gave it back to her. And she said, yeah, I guess so. All right, now, there are a lot of ways. My main point here is that I thought these two things were funny. They knocked on my mental funny bone. There are a lot of various ways to describe what happened. I could go into paranormal investigations. I could call in a crew with electronic equipment to come in here, invade my space, right? Spend the night with their instruments of detection. But there are different ways to explain this. This could distract me from whatever else I'm doing in my life. But nah, how many different ways to go about, explain this are there? All the universe is alive. See, and whether some entity, some beings, other dimensional beings are involved in this, or whether it was just the ring itself is alive and somehow managed to violate what we take to be natural physical laws. I don't really care. I don't care about that. It's interesting. It's interesting. I've given consideration to such things extensively at other times in my life, but in a sense, it really doesn't matter what it is. I mean, I can just sum it all up. All the universe is alive. Being and beings, whatever, it's everywhere. They are everywhere. Those are everywhere. Conscious substance in motion, otherwise known as what we call life, is what's going on. No matter what dimension, plane, level of manifestation we're talking about, conscious substance in motion. Now, Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, teacher of Alexander the Great, student of Plato, student of Socrates, Aristotle claimed that there's a variety of kinds of causes that have effects. One of them is the final cause. A final cause is things move toward their resting place. They almost like they want to get to where they want to go. Like water runs downhill till there's no more downhill, and then it becomes placid if there are no external influences or other kinds of causes to make it move. It goes to where it wants to be. Ultimately, the cause for an acorn is to become an oak tree. These are examples of final cause. All right, so I could just go Aristotelian on these things. The spoon wanted to be washed, wanted to get my attention, or at least it wanted to be on the floor. The ring wanted to be back on my wife's finger, or at least it wanted to be in the bed. But it seemed more important that it wanted to be on my wife's finger again. Now, could there have been some entity involved in giving me a message? Maybe that was instrumental. Maybe such a thing was instrumental to this final cause of it moving. I mean, whatever it takes to get something accomplished is what will happen. I'm just thinking it was funny. Whatever the explanation of how it happened, regardless, I thought it was humorous. I thought both of these events were humorous. All right, so this video has been, turns out to have accomplished a few things, right? I talked about some paranormal experiences here in my home. I talked about humor. I talked about final causes. I talked about things being alive. I talked about things, wanting things. We're talking about conscious substance in motion. So I'm done now. I'm going to drink some coffee. And I think it wants to be in my stomach. Have a good day. I'm Theron Ramacharaka. Be well.